Hi guys, my name is Alina.
My name is Bharat.
So we did a 2-week Iceland tour and we traveled the Golden Circle. We hired a travel agency because our trip was pretty last minute and we didn't have enough time to research or plan out everything, which ended up being a huge mistake because we wasted so much money on this travel agency and it was
ridiculous. I think maybe their travel margins must be around like 50% or something. Like we ended up paying 8,000 euros almost for the trip, and the itinerary was only for I think 10 days or 9 days,
10
something
days,
like that.
10 days only.
Yeah, only 10 days. So like for 10 days you're paying 8,000 euros. That's like a ridiculous amount of money. And if you would like plan it on your own, it would be like much cheaper and most probably a better experience. But at the same time, like there were some things which the itinerary did right, which we also remember for a very long time now. So all of that we are going to be like sharing now.
Yes, we did a lot of things wrong with packing. First of all, we had 2 huge suitcases, which was absolutely unnecessary because you just need actually one big suitcase. I think that's more than enough.
I wouldn't even say one big suitcase. If you take less showers and like anyways, it's very cool. Like you're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to wake up in the morning, take a shower and then go out. So if you're taking shower like every 2 days, every 3 days, whatever, like in Iceland, I know people taking showers every week, something like that. So you just need like maybe three pair of clothing. That's it. Like, so like take 2 check-in baggages, not check-in, the carry baggage, the small suitcases. That's it.
So while packing for Iceland, we did a lot of mistakes and we ended up getting very sick towards the end just because we packed very unnecessary things and not the right ones. So first mistake we did was we didn't pack any thermal wear. So we were going in August, which is one of the best seasons to go to Iceland, and it is still very cold. So we didn't buy any like tights or any like heat tech things which you can buy, for example, in this Uniqlo. We are also currently in South Korea where it's very cold and we are just wearing this type of stuff every day. So we should have done the same for Iceland, but what we did in the end is buying something in Iceland itself, which was like 2-3 times the amount of money. We bought gloves, we bought hats, we bought tights and...
Did you buy a scarf?
No.
Okay.
So I think the things you should definitely pack no matter which season you go: hat, gloves, tights. Scarf is also important, for example, for whale watching.
If you need it for the warmest season, then you definitely need it for the colder seasons.
Yeah. And also the like thermal like long arms. And one thing definitely what we should have packed is like 5 like thermal long arms and then like 2-3 fleeces.
I don't believe in that. Like Alina and I are different.
The hygiene standards are a bit different.
I would say like if you're going for 10 days, I think like maximum 3, maximum. Okay, or you can get by 2.
Maybe that's sufficient for a man. I would say at least 5 long arm thermal shirts and then like 2-3 fleeces at least.
Like you don't need more than 3 underwears, more than 2.
Are you sure you want to say this on the internet? That's pretty embarrassing, Rishu.
You actually also don't need any kind of clothes whatsoever. If you're as hairy as me, you don't need to wear any kind of You can run around as a bear without feeling any clothes.
Bharat's logic, because he has so much hair, he doesn't need much clothes and he doesn't sweat and he's like just a super hygienic person. So even...
Have you ever seen a bear sweat?
We will put our list of clothes which we recommend to take with you. Also, what we really felt was important is the water pants, the rain pants.
That's very important.
We got just 2 for each. I think it should have been more because we also got the normal jeans, but we only ended up wearing the rain pants when we were out. So and
mine tore.
Yeah, Bharat's tore. So in case of accidents, you should also have some spare because then
that's why I said 2. Like 2 is fine. No. Like one tears apart, you have the second one ready.
Yeah, Rishu, yours tore apart after a few days, and then you were wearing the same pants.
But I was more careful with the next one.
a few rain pants for sure, because this will be most probably the only thing you wear,
Yeah.
and the tights.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also what we felt was very important, the hiking socks. Like I felt my feet was so
Oh,
much
yeah.
more supported in the hiking socks than the
You
normal
mean
socks.
shoes?
Shoes too, but hiking socks are also very important in my opinion, because you will do a lot of walking in Iceland
Yeah,
and
and
hiking.
also very important, like when you're taking these like glacier tours and stuff like that, they will like specifically mention that you need to have a boot which has a long ankle so that you're not like the ankle like doesn't twist or something too much. That's very important.
Yeah.
And I mean, other
And
than
then
that,
the rain jacket we also
rain
have,
jacket
like,
you 100% need, because when you go into any kind of waterfalls and stuff, like you will get wet 100%. So also like nothing leather related, like no leather shoes, whatever, like just make sure whatever things you have, like they're weather durable, like because you'll be going through most probably a lot of water, even if you're just planning to go to waterfalls.
yes. So I think that's enough for the packing. Again, we put a list on the side which we recommend.
Again, to summarize it, like even in the hottest weather, it will be cold enough that you're going to need the thermals. That's it. Like in any other weather, you will anyways need thermals, but even in the hottest weather, you will need thermals. So
Also, like all the tours, you will need the thermals, like
yeah,
swimming,
snorkeling, glacier hiking,
all
then
these
whale
places.
watching, all of these
Even
things.
horseback riding, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, like people say, yeah, if you're on a budget, come in the winter and you will save so much more money, blah blah blah. I would not go in the winter, to be honest. I would maybe only go in the winter just to see the northern lights, but otherwise I will always choose to go in the summer, because was already cold in the summer. I don't even want to know how cold it is in the winter time. So we felt that the Blue Lagoon was pretty overhyped.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is overhyped if you're like standing from the knee stop above the water, because like that's how
yeah,
low the water level was. Like we had to like bend our knees and like kind of like so that we are inside the water completely and are not like just sticking out all the time, because outside it's very cold, inside is lukewarm in most of the areas, and then there are some spots from which the hot water is coming out from, so you have to kind of like stand at the right place where there's enough hot water but not too much hot water, because then you'll really burn yourself, because water gets really hot.
I think that's what most people don't show you on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube.
It's not so much fun.
It's like that the water is at a very uncomfortable level. If you have a normal height, then either you have to stand on your knees or you will be hanging out and you will get cold. So like we didn't really like Blue Lagoon that much, and I don't think I would be visiting again. But if you want to visit Blue Lagoon, I recommend to go either right after your flight to Iceland or before you go, because the Blue Lagoon is very close to the airport, but it is it's not even that close to this Reykjavik.
Okay.
And so there's nothing really around the Blue Lagoon, so I would do it right after the airport.
The most beautiful part was like
The
actually
river.
from the south to the east. East side, I loved it the most because you have the craziest mountains, you have all of these waterfalls going around, and it's just like really beautiful. Like that's the one stretch which I would say like this like east to south was pretty nice.
The last point, and I think the most important point for us, is that we would go without a plan next time. We had this itinerary, so much stuff was all in one day.
That was
Plus
ridiculous.
they didn't like give us enough time, because for example they booked hotels for us, but it was like 2-3 hours away from.
Not 2-3 hours away. Like there was one hotel we drove like 4 hours for, which was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we were calculating like almost 8 hours a day we are like spending in the car, like going from one place to the other. Like, you know, what's the point of it? Because also you have to remember that going around in Iceland is actually pretty slow. You can maximum go at 90 kilometers per hour, and like many times when you end up like stopping and stuff, like you kind of like really elongate your journey a lot more than it has to be. And
yeah, and also we couldn't stop a lot at places which we actually wanted to see, because we had our itinerary to finish, we had to reach our hotel, we had tours to reach, so it was not a relaxed travel. We didn't feel like we can take our time to really see places.
yeah, there was one, and like then there was also the story with like a glacier, no, not the glacier, but the boat tour at the glacier that you're having. Like, so we went to one boat tour company, and turns out like we were not supposed to go there, and we were supposed to go to another boat tour company. So have to be very careful because names sometimes end up being similar because everybody's like, yeah, glacier boat tour, but like see like what exactly is written, and then you have the longitudes and latitudes written. So a little bit better to orient yourself according to that. Personally, I really thought that maybe if we had a little bit more time, it would have been more enjoyable because we were in the constant rush of like just going from the one place to the next place, spending most of the time in the car. If you kind of decide all of this on your own, I think it's going to be so much more chilled out.
And I think next time I would even like to go with a camper van. I think that would be next time for sure.
So you also have to see like how exactly you want to do these things, because if you're using a camper van and stuff, of course, that's also going to be a lot more expensive. But like it's not going to be like, so let's calculate the cost. Camper van was around like I think 200 or 250 euros per night. So if you're having like 250 euros per night, like 10 days, you're like having 2,500 euros compared to 8,000 euros that we spent, like with accommodations, everything, whatever, like, you know, included. And then like you still have the freedom of like kind of like parking the car somewhere. Like many places are camping friendly, so you can just like enjoy very, very different things. So it would just simply make sense.
One important thing, like many places online say that there are so many free attractions in Iceland, but actually every free attraction, waterfalls or whatever, you have to pay for the parking, and that was something which really surprised us and shocked us because, like, why do I have to spend so much money on parking? It's so unnecessary.
Yeah, the parking was also like not exactly that cheap. I think, for example, even I remember this plane wreck. Like you go there and like there's written like you need to have an app, and like you download the app, and afterwards like you have to like put your numbers inside, and then you have to pay. Otherwise, you get a fine, things like that. So
yeah, so I think you will definitely have your own experience and your own mistakes in Iceland, but these are a few which we did. And we hope that you enjoyed our Iceland series. Actually, I enjoyed more watching our Iceland series than actually when we were there in the moment, because of this like travel agency packing our days, booking some random
not just that,
hotels.
like it just felt at the moment like very, very cold because we were just like so badly dressed. Like we should have taken the very thick jackets and stuff. Like just I was just taking my normal like skin jacket, like the North Face, whatever. Like so it's kind of like a
It's a rain
jacket, but I would have taken something like more thicker that would have made more sense.
definitely.
And like when it feels so cold and stuff, then you're like, yeah, like, you know, when is it getting over? Because towards the end, when you're like waiting for our flight, like last day, I think I vomited because I was having fever. I got cold and everything. Alina was also having fever. No, but Alina was having, I think, throughout the trip or something.
I first got sick, I think, on the 10th or 11th day.
Yeah.
And then I had fever and like a very bad cold, and then Borat also got it a few days later.
Yeah.
And I really think that is because of our bad packing and just wrong choice of clothes.
Yeah.
So definitely be careful. Rather bring too warm things than too like cold things. Yeah. So anyways, we hope you enjoyed our Iceland tour, and we are coming out with our Thailand tour now.